Hi, I'm Sibgha, and I went to St Benedict's sixth form in Bradford, and there I was doing 3 A-levels, history, English literature and drama, and I also completed a bit of an extended project on the Sharia law and kind of looking at the divorce laws, comparing them with the British law. And hopefully I will be studying law at the University of Manchester in September.
My name is Siddique Patel. I'm a solicitor. I specialise in family law, and I work for a firm called Shoosmiths, and I have a particular niche and specialism in Islamic family law. That stems from a career helping and working with Muslim clients as well as non-Muslim clients, and also having first-hand experience on the function of Sharia Councils, and also having, as a result of that experience, being part of a campaign called Register Our Marriage, which is working with various different stakeholders, lawyers, academics, politicians, and lay people in order to raise awareness about a particular issue, which is the issue of unregistered faith marriage. And also working hopefully with government, lobbying government, so that we can bring about a change in the law. So my practice covers all aspects of matrimonial law, from divorce to matrimonial finance to private law children matters to Islamic family law.
First question for you, Siddique, is how do you start your day? So that might include your routine. How does that go?
So how do I start my day? First of all, after my compulsory shower in the morning, without which the day doesn't proceed properly, I usually have breakfast at work. So I usually leave the house and drive to work, and in the intervening time between in that, say, 30 to 40 minute drive, I usually do all my prayers and morning prayers and Quranic recitation. And even before I've left the house, actually, I will have, hopefully, if I've got up on time, especially in the summer when the prayers are earlier, the morning prayers, the pre-dawn prayer is usually about 4 o'clock in the summer now. I think sunrise this morning was somewhere around the region of 4:36 a.m. or something. So I would have done that prayer as well. So it helps me get off on the right start, physically, spiritually, mentally. It helps me personally put the day in order. And once arriving at the office, I then have a very small breakfast, usually consisting of some fruit, usually a banana, with a nice cup of coffee, and then start proceeding to check my emails. In this day and age, when we're fully connected, I may have already checked my emails beforehand. So any urgent things that need to be attended to, any responses that need to be sent, any phone calls that need to be made, any meetings that need to be arranged, cancelled, rearranged, all of that gets done beforehand as well. So that's the start of the day.
A very organised routine. My second question. What's your current, well, we kind of know what your current role is, but how did you get there? So do you have any information about your current job, like your day-to-day activities and any previous positions, about your connection with Sarah?
Yeah, well, when I told my wife I was doing this, she rolled her eyes and said, "Oh, great, another hour of you talking about yourself. You're going to love it." So I'm trying to, I'll try to be as concise as possible, but I'm one of the few lucky people, as Sarah will understand, and hopefully you will be one of those lucky people as well, that gets to do for a living what they're really and genuinely passionate about, which is, as a lawyer, using the law as a tool to help people. Islam tells me that I must do, or I should do, as much as I possibly can to be of use to humanity, and that means helping both Muslims and non-Muslims. There's no distinction there. And the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, peace be upon him, said, "Khayrun nas ma yanfa'un nas." The best people are those who are useful or helpful to others. So that for me is something which has been with me all my life, and it's something which I try to put into practice every single day through the work that I do. As a family lawyer, I am in a privileged position. That position is that people trust me enough to let me into their personal lives. They tell me their most intimate details. They tell me their greatest fears. That can include things to do with what's going to happen upon divorce, what's going to happen to their house, for example, what's going to happen to my children. Will I get to see my son? Will I get to see my daughter? From an Islamic law, family law point of view, was this incident something which led to a dissolution of Islamic marriage from an Islamic theological point of view? So it's a really privileged position, and it's a duty of care that we have to discharge every single day. And I got there through a lot of hard work, I got there through a lot of help, and I got there through a lot of prayers, without a shadow of a doubt. If I didn't have the people who helped me at the appropriate times in my journey, in my career, former bosses, former employers who gave me the chance, other lawyers, and other colleagues who helped me understand my role as it was then, and helped me understand what I wanted to do. I wanted to do family law. I wanted to do Islamic family law, but I wasn't aware at the time that something like that could be done, and I wasn't aware of anybody who was doing that. And as I started started figuring out what I wanted to do, I came across the people, or some people who had already been in this field. So it's a niche role, because I'm not your standard matrimonial family lawyer who does everything just relating to family law, and neither is Sarah, for example, because of the mix and the interplay of Islamic family law issues and topics that we have to deal with on a day-to-day basis, which stem and encompass cultural issues, religious issues, and also legal issues. And to be able to understand those things and then digest them and then advise people on, and advise clients on how they must be addressed, is something which we continually learn every single day. And it comes about through experience, and it comes about through simply spending the time learning about the things which need to be learned about. There are certain things which you can only get from books, but there are lots of things which you don't get from books, which you can never get from books. And that's where the interaction with other colleagues, other peers, comes in as well. For example, as I was in my formative years, say maybe 10 years ago, I spent a lot of time with classically trained Islamic scholars, learning about the different rules of divorce and talaq and what the Islamic position was. By that time, I had already done my law degree in my LPC, so I had a very basic understanding of the English legal system. And I say very basic because it's only as you practice, you realize how little you actually know about the law. And that then gave me the basis and the background to fit all of that into the advice that I gave to clients. And that gives me a context and a perception of the law and the issues that, say, for example, clients face, or Muslim clients face, when they're undergoing separation. So then that's an example of how I learned about those issues, and then how I was able to take those issues and advise clients accordingly. Day-to-day activities, it's why I became a family lawyer. It could be as mundane as drafting a document or sending an email, but as exciting as going to court, doing your own advocacy, and seeing a case through from inception to final order. And one of the things that I learned from Sarah, and I continue to do to this day, many things, many good habits. Bad habits are all mine, but one of the things I learned was to become self-sufficient. And it was only I had never dictated anything in my professional career, for example, until about 4 years ago, when I joined a firm that I was at before, Shoosmiths, which was Cameron's. I realized that I love the sound of my own voice. Many people have told me that beforehand, but it's a different skill that I learned. So yeah, dictating documents, drafting documents, client interaction is something which I couldn't live without. It's one of the things I love about the job and the type of work that we do. And I jokingly say to people as well that I don't need to watch EastEnders because I get to see it in real life. You know, it really does happen. So that level of interaction with clients, you know, learning about the nitty-gritty of their personal lives and then trying to provide a solution for them using both the law and my experience as a Muslim in this country and a Muslim family lawyer, that's really it's really exciting and interesting and keeps me out of trouble every day and gets me out of bed every day, I suppose. I always wanted to become a family lawyer. When I realized that I wanted to do law, or when I realized I wanted to continue being in the legal field, and that realization only came to me after doing my law degree. After doing my law degree, I didn't want to be a lawyer at all. However, it was at that juncture in time when I came upon some really inspirational people. And one of the inspirational people that I came upon in my life and who influenced my career is a scholar, very, very, very well-known scholar in the community in Great Britain. And he was one of the first people to have set up a Sharia Council in 1994. So when I came across the Sharia Council, I was, like most people, I had heard and read about them in the media, so I didn't have the right understanding of what happened and what they did. So unlike most people, or unlike a lot of people, I actually inquired and I wanted to know what they did. So he invited me to observe. And from that point onwards, I was hooked. I saw that Sharia councils were a mechanism set up by concerned people to help Muslim women extricate themselves from marriages in which the husbands were unreasonably refusing talaq, unreasonably refusing to give Islamic divorce, in contravention of Islamic principles, but arguing using cultural factors as Islamic factors because they had culture and Islam mixed up. And it's again a very long debate that continues to this day about the difference between Islam and culture, how we as Muslims from the South Asian continent who are settled in the UK, or our forefathers are from the South Asian continent, subcontinent, have imported their cultural belief systems into the UK. And because of the lack of understanding of religion, we actually mistake that as religion. And one of the biggest problems this causes is in the area of Islamic divorce, when Muslim men divorce their wives in a certain manner, thinking that that manner of divorce is the only manner of giving divorce, when it patently isn't. And that requires, and for people to learn that, it requires education. It requires scholars to talk about these topics from the pulpit, which they unfortunately don't do. So once going back to the Sharia Council, I started observing the Sharia Council. I then started helping them. I always help them on in a pro bono capacity. Standardize their procedure, try to make them as professional as possible. Standard letters I drafted for them. I don't know if you've heard of Resolution, Sibgha. Resolution is the biggest group of family lawyers in the country. It used to be known as the Solicitors Family Law Association. So hopefully you'll become, if you ever become a family lawyer, you'll be a member of Resolution. And Resolution have a code of conduct to which we as family practitioners adhere to. And what I did in my early 20s at the Sharia Council was I cribbed their code of conduct for the Sharia Council. So I took all the things which could apply, and it was also a method of training the scholars there as well, because you have to remember these scholars are trained in a classical way. They've gone to these institutions where they've been trained in Islamic law, but they're not professionals. They've not had the professional training that you and I have had. And so things such as introducing the topic of having or conducting meetings at a Sharia Council, or having correspondence which is non-inflammatory and it doesn't inflame the situation or make the situation between the two parties even more acrimonious than it already is. is something which I helped introduce because of the resolution of code of conduct. And I think if you go to the Sharia Council to this day, I think they still use a version of that code of conduct which I drafted for them all those years ago. So that stemmed because of the Sharia Council, I wanted to become a family lawyer, and my interest in family law just blossomed out of that. And I was lucky enough to meet Sarah. Sarah gave me a job and helped put me on my way. I think one of the things that aligned me towards Sarah is the similarity in worldview that we share, and there were in terms of our ideals, especially as lawyers as well, which is primarily to use the law as a tool to help people. So that's where the journey started. Unfortunately, I didn't have any family law experience, so and it was very difficult to get family law experience. And as you may be finding, making lots of applications and not even getting responses, which is fairly disheartening. So I was lucky enough to secure a training contract at a firm which did civil litigation. So I did a lot of civil litigation in my training contract, some conveyancing as well. I did conveyancing and personal injury with Sarah as well. And again, with different firms and with different lawyers, I picked up different skills, some which to do with file management and case management and timekeeping. I learned from Sarah. I still use to this day. Other file management skills I've learned from different lawyers. I'm still learning. Just this morning I had a conference with a few colleagues, and there was a few points of law which I learned, and a few practical points on managing a screen on Microsoft Word and how to get different things done. So all of these things I keep on learning. And you will keep on learning as well in your journey from different people. Somebody once said to me that irrespective of who it is that you're talking to, always try to take the good, even if you don't agree with what they're saying and who they are, but try to take the good, which helps you in your journey, and which helps you in your character as a person as well, because being a lawyer, as Mrs. Patel will tell you, and I'm sure Sarah will tell you, and Nad will tell you, it does take over your life in a certain way. For you to be as effective as you want to be for your clients, you have to, especially as a family lawyer, you might find yourself living 3 different lives in one day. So yeah, and after I did my training contract, I was lucky enough to find a position at a family law firm and set up and run the family department there. I think that's all to say on that question. Feel free to interrupt me.
Very interesting.
I
like listening, because you said that you realised later that you wanted to do family law, and I think I already kind of feel like it's family law that I want to do, but I've heard a lot about family law being very difficult to kind of get into, to step your foot in the door kind of thing, as compared to commercial law. So it's going to be maybe a difficult journey.
Yeah, no, it's not easy. Nothing in life that is worth doing is ever easy, but that's what makes it worthwhile, and it's that challenge and it's that sacrifice that you make that makes you the person that you are, and that makes it achieving that goal worthwhile as well. I think from a personal point of view, I've not come across many Asian bearded male family lawyers in my career. I think I've come across 2 in total, and I can remember saying that to them as well. It is, I was reading some statistics from Resolution the other day. It is pretty much still a female white dominated area of law, is family law. And especially the range of issues and the emotional issues which are at play every single day in a family lawyer's life. Some people may argue that it's more suited to women than men. I don't think I fully agree with that comment. But it really does depend on your drive, and it really does depend on the efforts that you make. But do not underestimate how important it is to know what's happening in your sector. These days, with social media, everybody has access to a lot of information straight away. And when you're having interviews, or when you may be speaking with other senior lawyers, or when you're being interviewed for a place, you'll be expected to have a certain baseline level of knowledge, and you'll be expected to have that awareness of what's happening in the industry as well. So sign up to those things, industry-specific magazines, journals, websites, all these sorts of things.
Thank you. Okay, so we'll move on to the next question. Is there anything you would have done differently at the start of your career?
Yes, I would have worked harder. I came into family law quite late, I think, and I don't think it's a criticism on anybody if they're not sure of what to do straight away. You'll have some people who know exactly what they want to be very early on, and you'll have people like me who are not sure, but something will happen and they'll have a light bulb moment, or something will click, and then you know which track you're on. I have 2 children of my own, and I have conversations about this with my 7-year-old son. And I said to him yesterday, actually, he said he wanted to become a lawyer, just like me. I said, well, thank you, that's really good, really flattering, but give yourself time. You never know what you might want to do. You never know what your interests might be. But in terms of what I would have done differently at the start of my career, I would have done the things that I just said to you, which is being more au fait and more savvy with what's happening in the industry. If you really know what area of law that you want to go into at this stage, then absolutely, then you need to make sure that you're aware of what's happening in the industry, or what changes of law coming down the line, what big cases are happening in the Court of Appeal, in the Supreme Court. So being signed up to journals such as Jordan's Family Law Journal or Family Law Week, which is free online, all these sorts of things. Having that contact with established family law practitioners. Never underestimate how much information you can get from a phone call. But I mean, in the past, I can remember reading articles on a certain topic, thinking, "Wow, this is a family law lawyer. He's a family law practitioner. He's written about Islamic divorce in another country." This was a long time ago, and it was on his firm's website. And this is the norm nowadays, but about 7 to 10 years ago, this wasn't the norm. I found out. I think I found his a mobile number somehow. I don't know how I got his mobile number. Senior family lawyer. He's a deputy district judge as well, and still very much at the top of his game. And I made a phone call to him. I simply just called him and I asked him a few questions. I was very junior, and probably didn't realize how embarrassing I was in showing my lack of knowledge to him. But he was very gracious, and the best family lawyers and the best lawyers and the best judges I've found in my career are always gracious. They will never look down on you, because they value learning and knowledge and merit above anything. And they will look past what background that you're from, or how you may be speaking, what accent you may be speaking with. And they'll see the zeal and drive that you have. So I would say, don't be afraid to get into touch with the leaders in the field. These days, there are so many different methods of getting in touch with people as well. You've got Twitter, you've got email, you've got LinkedIn. All of these people make themselves available. So use that. And make sure that you read around your topic as well. Also, if I was going to say, in terms of your work attitude, I think this sort of goes on to your question 5 as well. The modern world calls it a can-do attitude. I say it's Islam has said it a long time ago. It's khairun nas wa yanfa'un nas, being of help to people. I once went into an interview at a law firm, and they gave me a tick box, and it was questions were, which task would you not do? Opening a file, going to court, taking the bins out, right? And I said I would do all of them. And so you've got to show that enthusiasm, that drive, that that sets you apart from the rest, because as Sarah will tell you, and from lots of experience that she has with so many people that she comes in contact with, I'm one of those people that academically I wasn't brilliant, and I'm still not brilliant, but hard work, determination, and wanting to learn what I don't know are attributes which help everybody.
I do, yes. Thank you again. I was quite surprised actually when you said that you would have done something differently at the start of your career. A lot of people often say that I'm kind of here because of the way it kind of began. Yeah, interesting.
I would say it was my early 20s when I finally decided that family law is something I wanted to do, and staying in the law was. And now, as my wife says to me, I can't think of doing anything else. I really can't. It's like a calling. It really is to not to get too emotional about it. But the satisfaction that you get from helping people and using the law to help people find solutions to the personal problems that they have in their life is something which is amazing every time.
Yeah, that's the kind of job you want. It's not that you need the job, it's you want the job. I like that.
Yeah, you have to have that humility, absolutely.
Yeah. What gets you back on your feet when you've been knocked down? So overcoming challenges, both in your personal or professional life.
Good cup of coffee. No, I think spiritually prayer is and being hopefully a practicing Muslim is something which goes hand in hand with my work. I'm lucky enough to have my professional career defined by my religion, as I can refer to myself as an Islamic family lawyer. Not many people can. I think that certainly helps, and having the right people around you, your family always helps as well, and everybody gets knockbacks, but patience and working through the problem as well sometimes, and just sticking at it, that keeps you going.
I like that advice, thank you. Okay, so my fifth question that you will be familiar with: what advice would you give to someone who's at the start of their legal career? So I've had quite a lot already, thank you. So practical things to be ready for work.
Never underestimate the importance of appearance. We are human beings, and we have flaws, and unfortunately we do judge a book by its cover. I've always taken great interest, you could say. I always enjoyed the fact that being a lawyer means I have to dress appropriately for clients and for court. And so, simple things like, being suitably attired, so that when your client looks at you, they have that confidence in you. You're not somebody who's coming to court with a shirt tucked out and late for court, or a top button undone. So appearance, smart, sharp, and formal for court and for clients, because again, it's about trust, and it's about the privilege of acting for clients. And at the end of the day, it's the client's decision to instruct you. If they decide not to instruct you, you can't do anything about it. And in terms of, from the commercial aspect, winning the case, getting the case in first of all, but also then maintaining that level of rapport. Simple things such as dress is I think very important. And also it's the little things such as the communications that you have via emails with fellow peers, fellow professionals, senior lawyers. Make sure that there are no spelling mistakes in your emails. It's amazing what we, as lawyers, it's the first thing that we pick up on, especially pedantic ones like me. And that doesn't mean I don't make mistakes as well in my spellings, unfortunately. So little things like that. Preparing for your interview, knowing the firm, going onto their website, going onto the profile page of the person that you're going to be speaking to. I Googled you before I came on this call. It's the basics. It gives you that starting point, and it gives you that ability to talk about something when you feel the conversation isn't going a certain way, or when there's some dead time perhaps. And making sure that your CV is up to date, making sure that you are able to, if you've done any extra work, for example, any work in the community, which is something which I'm a big advocate of, or anything related to the law that you've done, any pro bono work, then making sure that you refer to that. You know, you've done the work, so refer to it. If you've written any articles, or if you've read anything, or even if you've read anything which is of substantial value, which a junior lawyer is not expected to read, or may not be expected to read, then talk about that. But showing your knowledge and is, you know, that's when you have the chance to shine and show off, as it were. So use that opportunity, but you'll only use that opportunity if you've done the work beforehand as well. So take the time to read, take the time to legal research, and take the time to spend time on websites, and also assessing the position of certain changes that may be happening, for example, in the area of law, what different practitioners are saying, maybe having a look on Twitter, what the conversation is.
Thank you for many handy tips and really good advice.
I hope so. I do have the habit of jumping from one point to another, as Sarah will no doubt agree. But I hope it's been of some use.
I think it connects everything really well. And yeah, I was thinking about what to ask you, but I think we've kind of covered everything. What can I ask?
Good.
Well, I gave Stephanie the very difficult question of where she sees herself in 10 years' time. Would you like the same question?
Yeah, that's a really good question. In 10 years' time, I would like to be at the senior end of the legal profession in terms of what I do. I'm already lucky enough to be able to say that I act for the clients that I want to act for, and engage in the areas of family law which I've wanted to engage in and practice upon. Alhamdulillah, I've reached that, I've attained that. Now for me, it's a matter of just getting to the stage and the level where you can't get any higher. You're at the highest level in terms of client care, in terms of technical expertise, in terms of progression of that particular area of law, and raising awareness of the issues that come to light, especially when you look at it through the prism of this area of law, Islamic family law. So yeah, perhaps having my own firm, maybe. We'll see. The jury's out on that one, as it were. But certainly being at the senior end of the profession in terms of a senior lawyer and practicing at the highest level. I think one thing the last couple of years has really ingrained upon me, and is how much more there is still left to learn.
That's great. Hopefully you will make it, and hopefully by then I might be able to see your name, just not on the Shoosmith website.
No, inshallah, and I may be coming to you for some advice.